today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this dress, and I'm going to be using about 2.5 yards of fabric. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the top part, which I've already folded my fabric into two. I'm just going to be joining my basic bodice. My fabric, I have my front panel, and then I also have my back panel, which has the zip allowance here. So the fold I have here, so there are 4 folds here. The first fold, which is the top front bodice, is just my bust measurement divided by 4. My bust is 42 divided by 4 is 10.5 plus like extra 1.5 inch of seam allowance. So that's 12 that I have here. You can do 1 inch of seam allowance if you want, and then I have my zip allowance, which is about 1.5 also. So you can also use 1 inch for just your zip allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do is to start drawing in my bodies, starting with my shoulder measurement, and then my shoulder divided by 2 is going to be 8. My shoulder is 16 divided by 2 is 8. Come down here, put in my armhole, which is 20 divided by 2 is 10. Connect it all the way up, and then curve it this way for my armhole. And then I'm going to come in here, put in my bust measurement, which is already the fold of the fabric, mark it here, and then come down here, insert my waist measurement, and my waist is 30. So guys, my waist is 36 divided by 4 is 9, plus extra 2 inches of darting and seam allowance. So that's here. I'm also going to connect it down all the way to this point. So now you're going to go back up to the shoulder. I'm going to take away 1 inch from this here for my shoulder slope here, and then insert my neckline. It depends on you. You can do the normal basic 3 inches by 3 inches, or you can do 3 inches by 3 inches of width and then bring down the neckline, or you can extend it by 3.5. It depends on you, the type of neckline you want. And then for the back, if you look at the picture, you see that the back, if I insert it here, you see that the back came down a little bit. So I might just come down by about 6 inches for the back, somewhere here, and just connect it from that same point for the back neckline this way. You can bring yours further down if you want to, but I'm just going to be doing it this way. So now at this point, I'm going to go ahead, cut this out all the way, and cut out my neckline. So guys, at this point, you're also going to put in your dart. So my shoulder to the bust line is about 11 inches down here. So my dart is going to stop at 12 inches. So I'm going to just mark that down here. So how I got this 4 inches is just your nipple to nipple distance divided by 2. So that's how I got it. I'm going to mark half an inch on this side, half an inch on this side, and then connect it. So this is going to be my dart. The same way I put this dart here is the same location I'm going to put it at the back, but except this time it's going to go up to my chest line. So it's going to go up this way, all the way up to this point. And then I'm going to mark half an inch here, and then half an inch here, and then I'm going to connect my dart this way. So that's how the back dart is going to look. So as you can see, I also brought down my front neckline a little bit more. Instead of using 3 inches, it depends on you what neckline you want to use for this here. And then I'm also going to go ahead and on my front bodice here, I'm going to just come down here halfway through the armhole. I'm going to come down here about 4.5, somewhere here, mark in like half an inch, and then I'm going to connect it straight down here, and then with a curve for the remaining part here, and then cut it out. This is just only on the front bodice. So guys, another thing I'm going to do to help my zip relax better is at the back, you're going to measure your shoulder to waist at the back. And then for me, mine is about 1 inch shorter. So I'm going to subtract 1 inch from it here. And then I'm going to connect it all the way to this edge. But make sure that at the edge here is the same length as the front, right? So I'm just going to connect it in a slant curve this way. Straight line across to the back this way, you see? Just use your ruler, that would be better. But you see, I avoided this edge here, which is where my 2 side seam will be. Because if you make it straight and then come to this back here and also reduce it, then the front is going to be longer. So I just reduced it a little. But you measure your front and your back shoulder to waist, and it's the same length. You will have to avoid this one. You don't have to add this extra step. So I'm just going to cut this out. It will help my zip to relax better, and then we'll move over to the skirt. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do, so guys, this is my skirt. Oh, the same way I folded for my front, my top is what I folded for the back here. Just use, but this time around I'm using my hip, which is the widest part of my lower body, and then I also added 1 inch of seam allowance to it. So my hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch My hip is 48 divided by 4 is 12 plus 1 inch of seam allowance is 13. So I have 13 inches of width here. And then for my zip, I have about 1 inch of extra room for the zip at the back here. So now we are going to also insert the measurement for this one. So all you have to do here, the same thing for the top part, you're going to measure from your shoulder to your waist, and then you add extra 1 inch for the length, seam allowance of joining the two parts of the shoulder, and half an inch of joining this top part of the shoulder and half an inch of joining this bottom part to this skirt part, because this is going to meet together, right? And then the skirt part, you need half an inch of joining it to this top part of this bodice, and then you need about 1 inch to fold this end here before you attach your ruffle. So because the ruffle is going to be placed on top of it, there are two methods of attaching this ruffle. You can do the method where you trace out your pattern and then slash the pattern and then use it to cut out the fabric you need, so that way your ruffle will be inside of the skirt, like it will be placed inside of the skirt. But with this method I'm showing you guys, the ruffle is just going to be on top of the skirt. You will not be using the slash method, but I can also go ahead and show you guys that in another video. So but this one here is the easier method of doing it. So you're going to just go ahead, after folding your fabric, you're going to divide your waist measurement, the same measurement I used here, which is also 36 divided by 4 is 9, plus extra 2 inches, 1 inch of seam allowance and 1 inch of darting, extra 2 inches. So that's why I have about the same 11 inches here. So now I'm going to move over. From my waist to my hip is almost, so guys, my waist to my hip is about 10 inches. So you're going to measure your waist to your hip. It depends on you what yours is, but mine is going to be short. The inner part of the skirt is going to be short, so it depends on you the length you want yours to be. The one on the thumbnail is long, but mine is going to be a short one. So you're going to then insert your hip measurement here, and then you're going to connect it to this part of the waist. Just like that, you're going to connect it, and then when you come down here, you're going to come down by 1 inch here from the hip line, and then you're going to subtract about 1 inch at the end of this skirt here, and then you're going to connect it this way, and then put this one down with a straight line. So this here, if you connect just your hip directly to the end of the skirt, you will have that pointy part when you're done sewing it. So that's why it's better to come down 1 inch before you connect it to the end of the skirt. If your skirt is even still longer, that's better for you, but mine is going to stop somewhere here. And then the next thing you're going to do is to go in and draw in your dart. The same way I put in my dart for the top part, my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 is going to be 4. Mine is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'm going to come down here 2 inches before my hip line, which is going to be 8. This is where my dart is going to stop at 8 inches. Bring down this line down here, and then mark half an inch on each side and connect it this way. So this is going to be my dart here. So this is going to be my dart. I'm going to notch it, and this is going to be just where my dart is. I'm going to pick my dart here and then fold the end of the skirt. So I'm basically going to go ahead now, join this part of my skirt together, just pick my dart, join the two sides. But before that, let me cut out this part also so you guys can see. So cut out the excess. So guys, I'm going to go ahead, pick my dart, fold these two sides to join each other. Do the same thing for the top part here. Pick my dart, join the two shoulder together. But before that, I'll also go ahead and cut out the sleeve for this top. So guys, this is what I'm using for my sleeve. There are 2 of them folded into two folds, and there are 2 pieces here. So I'm just going to come down here and mark. So I'm not going to be using a long sleeve like the picture, a 3/4 sleeve. I'm using just down to my elbow, and then is about, I'm using 8.5 when I'm done. So you're going to add 1.5 to it so that you can use half an inch to join this part to the sleeve, and then about 1 inch to fold the end. So after that, you're going to come down here by about 4 inches on a straight line this way, and then you're going to just connect it this way from this point to this point, right? And then the length I have here is basically my armhole divided by 2. So that's the length I have here. That's the length of this fold. And then you're going to find halfway through this here. So halfway through, I have about 11.5 here. Halfway through is going to be 5.75, and then you're going to mark the lower part of it with a curve below, and then the upper part of it with a curve above it, just like this. So that's basically it. Measure around your arm and then your sleeve width, and then add 1 inch to it, divided by 2, add 1 inch to it, and then you're going to connect it this way. So that's basically my sleeve. I'm going to go ahead, cut this out, and then join everything together. I've coupled the bottom part together, put in my dart, join the 2 sides. Now it's almost like a skirt. I've also done the same thing for my top bodice. It's now like a top, so it's supposed to meet each other at the waist here. And you see, I've not used bias to finish up my neckline. I'm still going to do that, but I've already picked my dart. So now we're going to talk about the flay that is going to be on this here. So I've decided that this is going to be on my right side. My flay, the higher part of it, is going to be on my right side. So what I'm going to do is, I need half an inch on this waist here to join this to this bottom part, right? Half an inch is what I need. So I'm going to just mark that half an inch here. If you want, you can do 1 inch and come down. If you want it to start like half an inch after this, because this half an inch is going to be tucked in here. So I want immediately after that tucking, then my gather is going to be there. I don't want any space in between that. Mine, I want it to be right where this joins each other. So now after that, you're going to go in here by about 1 inch, come in here by 1 inch, right, on that same line. And then at this edge here, it depends on you how curved you want it to be. I'm going to insert the picture again for you to see. It goes right underneath her butt and curves away. So like what I'm going to do here is, you can do 6 inches, you can do 5 inches. Just curve in from this angle of your skirt. I'm going to come up this way, and then I'm going to just curve it down this way, right? And then I want about 2 inches at the end of the skirt. So 2 inches or 1.5, anyone you want to do. And then I'm going to just continue that 2 inches or 1.5 all the way in a straight line like this, going across, right? So the same way, this thing I marked here now is the same what I'm going to have at the back here. Come down here by about, come in here by 1 inch. So come down half an inch, come in 1 inch, and then the same thing on that same part here, you're going to angle it again. The same 6 inches here or 5 inches, whatever you decided to do. Then bring down your line. It's like you can already imagine your butt being here. So you want it to run across the side and then cup around your butt and then come in. So you can even go in further and then connect it to this line, and then that 2 inches that you marked all the way to the other end. So this 2 inches line here is going to meet this 2 inches line, or 1.5, anyone you left is going to meet each other here. So that's how you're going to leave this skirt now. So you're going to take your gather, whatever you're using for the gather here, you're going to take the tape, measure this round or even up to the front, and do ×2 or ×2.5. It depends on how gathered you want yours to be. And then whatever you're using, I'm going to be joining a lot of fabric to get the length I need. So, but what you have to do is just follow this same line here, and then you're going to leave, because I'm going to be joining mine at this top part here. So the one from the front, the flare from the front. So when I start the one on the front, I'm going to have some excess left too, right? So the one I'm using for the back, like the long strap I'm going to be using, piece of cloth I'm going to be using for the back, I'm going to leave about 4 inches at this top part here, or 3 inches, right, before I start pleating together. So I'm going to just start gathering it like this, sewing it down, sewing it down, sewing it down like this, following this line that I've made all the way around. And the same thing for the front. When I go to sew it, I'm going to leave like 4 inches. So when I'm done, I'm going to now open it up now and use this here to join this, make a seam to join this front and back flay, right? So you're going to make a seam to join this front and back flay so that it will now fall over like this. So I'm going to go ahead now to sew mine all the way around and bring it back. And then I'm going to join it to the top part of this dress with your zip at the back. So that's basically how you're going to do it. Here, I finished mine. This is the neckline. So you see, I joined the bottom to it. So like I said before, I just gathered it how I showed you guys. You're going to gather it on top like this. Just split it as you're going, and then when you're done, it's going to flip over on top this way. So this will be hidden. But one thing you have to make sure is that you weave this end, like weave the end of this cloth before you start joining it, so that even if the wind blows and it shows, it's going to be like a weaved end, not how this one is at the moment. So you see mine here, this is the side. So you see this is my skirt underneath, and then this is it here. So just make sure you mark your line and then follow the line like that and pleat it all the way around. Come back here just like that, gather it all the way. This is where my two sides met at the top of this waist here. That's where my line is, you see. where the two parts, so I started from one side, went all the way around to the other side, came back here, and then joined it here. So now, and then I stitched it inside of this cloth, so it's hidden inside of this. So that's basically how it is. So I'm going to turn around the back so you can see. So you see my zip at the back. This is what it looks like here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.